Okay, welcome back to the channel. So we've been building this isometric room in the last few videos. We did the room, the sort of the walls. We did a hardwood floor. We did some baseboard and crown molding, a window blind, some wall shelves. So I want to start putting some furniture in this room. And the making an isometric room gives you an opportunity to build a whole bunch of things and develop your skills. I found that to be the case. Um, so I'm going to make a bed for this room. Turns out it's going to be a bedroom. So um, just some housekeeping here. So in the scene properties, if you watched the previous videos, you know I'm using imperial, and in the length I'm using inches. So I am going to add a cube to this scene. And I'm going to hit N on my keyboard to bring out this menu where I can add some dimensions. And I roughly know the size of the bed. I'm going to make a single bed, and I looked up the dimensions of a single bed, and it is 38. This would be a mattress, 38 inches wide by, actually that should be 75 inches long by 38 inches wide by about 8 inches thick. So I'm just going to grab that, move it up the Z axis. So that would be the mattress. And we're going to start with this. So I'm going to hit the / my keyboard to sort of hide everything while we're building this bed. So here we are. Now I'm going to go ahead and Control A, and I'm going to apply the scale. So if we add modifiers, they're going to work. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. So Shift D to duplicate this. And I'm actually going to create a new collection here. I'm going to do a new collection. I'm going to call it bed. And I'm going to move these two things we just created into this collection so we can keep track of them. So like the first thing I was going to call a mattress. And the second thing will be the bed. The bed's gonna be made up of a mattress because I might use a different material in the mattress. It makes it a little easier to manage materials on separate objects. So I'm gonna change the height of this bed to just temporarily to 12, and you'll see why here. So back to the bed. Now I want this object I just created is kind of the frame of the bed. So I'm going to add 2 inches to the length and 2 inches to the width. And that's kind of the frame around the mattress. Now I'm going to use this mattress to make a hole. So if I hide the mattress, it's just a block. But we're going to click on this bed frame, go to modifiers, and we're going to add a Boolean. So it's under generate Boolean. And we're going to use the eyedropper to select the mattress. And it looks like nothing's happened, but if you hide the mattress, there it is. So we're going to go ahead and apply this. And then we can put our mattress back to the dimension 8 inches, which I had. And for the time being, we're going to we're going to hide that mattress. And we're going to go ahead and apply the scale to this bed frame. So Control A, apply scale. You always want to apply the scale before you add any modifiers or do any functions to an object. So we'll tab into edit mode. And I can do a bevel here, so a loop cut, sorry, Command R. And I want it to go around like that. So I'll click once, and then I'm going to move it down something like that. And while I'm here, I'm going to bevel this. So Command B, and then move your mouse, and we're going to bevel it something like that. Now we're going to tab into face mode, and we're going to extrude these. So but we're going to do an Option E. So E to extrude, but if you hit Option first, you get a little menu that pops out. And we want to do extrude along normals, meaning it's going to extrude along one of the axes. So I want it to extrude along the X and Y axis. So along normals. And then you kind of just move your mouse. And actually, you know what? I'm going to just show you this better angle of this like this. So Option E to extrude along normals. And this is going to be the ledge that the mattress sits on that we're making here. So something like that. I like that. That looks good. So now staying in edit mode, but we're going to go to edges. And I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to select this edge right here. And I'm going to hold down my Option key. And it's going to select all the continuous edges all the way around. And I'm going to press F as a shortcut to fill that. And then while that's selected, I hit P, and it creates a separate object over here. So tab back into object mode, and we're going to hide this bed frame. So now we're just left with this. So I'll zoom out a bit. I'll hide this side menu. So now what I want to do is create like planks. So I'm going to tab into edit mode, and I'm going to do a Command R to create some edge loops. And now I've did this obviously before. I want 12 edge loops, and you'll see why. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. So now I'll click to accept that. Now I have the option of moving them around, which I don't want to. So I'll click again. So I'm going to tab into face mode, and I'm going to select every other, holding down Shift, every other sort of face. And then X, delete faces. And then I'm going to select all these faces. And I'm going to E to extrude, Z axis, something like that. So now I'm going to go back into object mode. I'm going to bring back my mattress, and I'm going to do a G to grab and B. No, I want the mattress. So select this, G to grab, and B for the sort of snapping of a vertex, and like that. So that looks good. And then if we bring back our bed, it kind of looks like that. So far so good. Let's actually add a bevel modifier to this mattress so it actually starts to look like a mattress. So to the wrench here, add modifier, and we are going to add a bevel modifier, and we'll just increase the segments till it starts to look like a mattress. You don't want too many. So that looks good. And I'm just going to click shade smooth. That definitely looks like a mattress. Okay, so we're going to head and apply that. So far, this is our bed, and that's underneath it. So now we need some legs for this bed. So I'm going to go ahead and add a cube. And I'm going to N on my keyboard, bring out this menu. And I want it to be 2 inches by 2 inches by 30 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and apply the scale to that. And I'm going to G to grab, B for the snapping, and I'm going to snap it to there. That looks good. Now I'm going to Shift D to duplicate this, and this is the foot of the bed. Oh. Grab this and move it over here. And I'm going to make this 24 inches tall, 24. And I'm going to apply the scale to that. G to grab, B for the snapping, and I'm going to snap it right there. So in to hide that. So now I'm going to select both of these, and I'm going to just add 2 legs to the other side. So Shift D, and then I'm going to do G to grab, B for the snapping, and right there. Okay, so that's looking good. So now I need something to tie these legs together. So I'm going to add, well, actually, I'll just reuse one of these. So Shift D, and I'm going to rotate this on the X axis 90 degrees. And I'm going to hit my N on my keyboard. Now I want to, you can see that it's 24 inches on the Z axis. That's because I need to do a Control A and not apply scale, but I want to apply all transformations. And you can see that now the 24 inches is the length is on the Y. That makes more sense. So I'm going to G to grab, I'm going to B and snap it here. Actually, G to grab, B, and I'll grab this top one. Like that. Now I'm going to tab into edit mode, into faces. I'm going to grab this face here, G to grab, B, and I'll just snap it right into there. Now I'm going to tab into object mode, and I want this to be a little taller. I'm going to make this 5 inches. Oh, we'll just grab that and move that back down. So while I change the dimensions, the origin isn't set for this particular cube. So G to grab B, and we'll just snap it right there. Okay, and while we're here, actually, we're going to go ahead, object, set origin to geometry. And now if we dimension it again, it'll make sense. So I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna add an array modifier, and this seems excessive at the moment. So an array modifier just sort of continues a pattern. So right now it's moving it along the x-axis. I don't want that, so I can put a 0 there. I want to move it along the y-axis, but in sort of a negative direction. So minus 1.5 for the spacing I'm kind of looking for. I like that. That looks good. So now I'm going to duplicate this. So Shift D, and I'm going to G to grab, B to snap it. I'll put it right there. So that looks good. Except on the headboard, I think I want one more. So I'm going to go ahead and increase the segments here to 3. So I like that. That looks good. But I kind of want a little more interest in this. So I'm going to actually change this from 2 inches to 1 inch. And because it's an array modifier, it's going to change both. And I'll do the same over here. 1. So I like that. That looks good. And I'm actually going to move both of these down just a little bit. And I use the arrow keys on my keyboard because I just want to move it down like microscopically. So 1, 2, oh wait. I got to do a G to grab. So G to grab, z-axis, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that. And it just creates a little more interest, I think. I like that. That looks good. So now I need to move everything up so the legs actually look like legs. So I'm going to select the mattress, the frame, and these supports. And G to grab up the z-axis. And I'm going to move it up something like that. So I think I like that. That looks good. So this is a bed. So let's bring back the room. So / to bring back everything. Oh, I wanted to actually make the bed one object. So I'm going to select all the components of the bed. And this under part here. So all that's selected, I'm going to go up to object. I'm going to join this. So now I just have a bed and a mattress. And that's what I wanted. So now I will select both of these things. And I will G to grab, z-axis, down, something like that. And then G to grab Y, something like that. And G to grab X. There. So we're starting to furnish our isometric room. Some cube modeling in there. If you like what we're watching, give it a like, thumbs up. Consider subscribing. It really helps my channel. We're going to continue to model this isometric room and learn a lot of skills along the way. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.